Jr. Trade deadline day came with its fair share of drama in Cleveland yesterday. You know, sometimes not making a move is as big as making one. Odell not moved yesterday. His dad was busy, however, took to Instagram to post an 11-minute video of all the times Baker has been off the mark or hasn't even thrown to a wide-open OBJ. It has been a frustrating season for Beckham, just 17 catches in 6 games. So all the chatter yesterday got the people asking, is Odell on his way out of Cleveland? The Browns' biggest fan, LeBron James, tweeted this ahead of the deadline. OBJ will show again why he's special. Wide receiver 1, hashtag free OBJ. Wow. We got our Pro Bowl receiver, Greg Jennings, in the house. Break this one down. Greg, any chance Odell and Baker can get on the same page by the end of the season? I feel like we ask it all the time. We keep saying sure, and then nothing really ever comes of it. You think they can?
I do. I think they can. Do I think they will? I don't. I don't think they will. When you look at how they comprise this team, obviously they wanted Odell Beckham to be what he was when he was with the New York Football Giants, big play guy, but the Giants had him with volume targets, volume opportunities. We don't see him with even minimal opportunities when we're talking about the Cleveland Browns and what the chemistry is or what the lack of chemistry looks like with he and Baker Mayfield. So I just don't see it actually working out. And then listening to Kevin Stefanski, I love Kevin Stefanski, but when you as an offensive coordinator and a head coach say, I got to find a way to get him more involved. You don't find a way to get one of the best players on your roster on paper, that is, because we haven't seen him be the Odell Beckham of the Giants. So I believe that Jarvis Landry is their best option at wide receiver. However, when you have an offensive coordinator, your head coach says, I got to find a way to get you more involved, that lets me know that you are really not that important. And I'm not saying he's not important, and I don't believe that Kevin Stefanski doesn't believe that he's that important. But what I will say is they don't believe that they have to have Odell Beckham to win football games. We saw that last season. We saw them go on that run. We saw them have success and Baker start to thrive, whatever that thriving looked like, when Odell Beckham was out of the lineup. It was almost like, okay, now I can just play football. And so that's why I don't think it will work. Could it work? Yeah, but you would be forcing something. And I don't think that that's the route anyone would like to see them go.
Okay, yeah, it could work. Like, I could 360 dunk after this show. Like, it might happen. There are some, like, little bit of anecdotal evidence that it could happen. But you know what? If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now, Wilds. And I do not think Odell is washed like I am. Sorry, everybody. Sorry to my pickup basketball team, washed. I don't think he's washed. I agree with LeBron that I think he can still be a special player. But I think the Browns should cut him, Nick. And like, oh, why would you cut Odell? Well, why wouldn't you? All right, tell me why you wouldn't cut Odell. The chemistry is already a mess and has been since he's in Cleveland. And your dad posting an 11-minute video of why all the times Baker didn't throw to him. I'm sure Baker's not gonna be like, hey, how was your weekend? Anything interesting happen? It's a disaster. And when you look at the stat sheet, Nick, he's tied for 127th in receptions. Not great. He's 97th in yards. He has 11 more yards than Deshaun Jackson, who was just cut. He's tied with all of us with 0 touchdowns. In his Cleveland tenure, he has 7 touchdowns. That's as much as Jamar Chase, who's halfway through his rookie year. So the idea that Cleveland is hanging on to this special talent with the idea that something is going to emerge, that ship sailed. You had years to make it work. It doesn't work, and now you've ruined chemistry in the locker room. Cut him, move on, and like LeBron says, let him be special somewhere else.
Yeah, but here's why they won't cut him. I think it's the same reason they didn't trade him, Wilds. Because who are the first 2 teams that I think would try to get him if you cut him? Baltimore and New England. the two teams the Browns are competing with to make the postseason. He obviously would fit in Baltimore, and he wanted to go to New England before he went to the Browns. Now, obviously, that was when Tom Brady was there. But those teams have a need at the position, and they would scoop him up. I don't think there was no trade market for Odell. I think there was no trade market in the NFC for Odell. If you think about it, Aaron Rodgers loves his receivers. The Cowboys have a ton of receivers. The Seahawks have a ton of receivers. The Cardinals have a ton of receivers. San Francisco's traded their draft picks away already. So who is going to trade for him in the NFC? I don't think the Browns want to trade. I don't think the Browns think their season's over. So I think they would rather have him on the roster doing nothing than have him hurting them, when they plays them, or hurting them in a competition for the wild card spot. But here was my takeaway from all of this. Should Odell's dad have posted that video? Probably not. But he did. And I watched it. And oh boy, he's open a lot. If you think Odell's washed, I recommend you go watch this video. He is running these perfect routes, getting separation, getting open. And Broussard, it's not that Baker is throwing to someone else. Baker is throwing to no one on these plays. He's running around like he can't see, trying to hit the edge, which he can't do, or he's throwing to Odell late, or he's throwing to Odell inaccurately. I've got to tell you, this might have been propaganda. It worked. I watched this video, I was like, Odell's still awesome. Like, free Odell. I was right there with it. I'm telling you, if you've got 11 minutes, go to old Odell Beckham Sr.'s Instagram and watch the video. It is compelling evidence that Odell is doing everything he can do, and the quarterback can't hit him. And I've defended Baker, but Broussard, and I know Odell's had a few bad drops, most notably a couple fourth down drops, so it's not like he's blameless in this. But my God, that Vikings game, he is cooking the Vikings the whole game, can't get the ball. He could have won them the Chargers game with a first down when they had a 1-point lead. Baker can't get him the ball. Odell Sr. did a good job. He's open a lot, Broussard. He's open a lot.
All right, Nick, I agree with you that OBJ isn't washed. I do think he could definitely help another team, but let me follow up on your points of why Wilds, they won't cut him and they shouldn't cut him. Nick, I'm going to give you two more teams that I think in the AFC would love to have OBJ or should want to have OBJ. How about your Chiefs and the Raiders?
Sure.
All right, so you name two, I name two, because remember, if he's cut, he's going to be on waivers. Nobody will pick him up because they don't want to pay him the $8 million. And then he becomes a free agent, goes to one of the four teams you and I mentioned, and then the Browns have to pay the $8 million remaining on his contract. So why in the world, if I'm the Browns, would I pay him $8 million to go help a team that we're competing for a playoff spot against? So that's not happening. I'd rather put him on the injured reserve list, honestly, because he is injured, actually. It wouldn't be a total fabrication. We know his shoulder is banged up. I'd rather put him on the injured list, Wilds, than have him go help one of those teams. Now, let me just say this. I do think, like Greg said, this could work out. And call me naive, I just like to think I'm a proponent of grown man stuff. All right, grown man stuff, meaning if I got a beef with another grown man, let's sit down face to face and work it out. Period. Especially if we're in a situation where we need to work it out. They didn't think Aaron Rodgers could go back to Green Bay. But you know what? Grown man stuff. And now he's there looking like they could get to the Super Bowl. David Njoku last year, while on this very Browns team, asked to be traded twice. Now he's their leading receiver. All right, and by the way, OBJ does lead them in targets with 34. I know they're not getting the most out of him, but he's got the most targets on the team, and he's missed 2 games. So sit down, try to iron it out like grown men. I don't think that Baker has any animosity towards OBJ. If it doesn't work over the next several weeks, put him on the injured list. That's what you do. I'm serious. I don't think OBJ put his dad up to that, Wilds. I don't think OBJ put his dad put
agree.
OBS up to it.
Okay. I would like to go on Fox Bet and see if there was a call between OBJ and LeBron and see if I can bet that. Or LeBron's got his own hashtags just off the top of his head and, you know, adding OBJ. Here's the last thing, Jenna, and I know we're up against the break. I agree with Broussard, grown man stuff, get in there. And Nick called this like a great Odell tape. You know what it also is? A bad Baker tape. And we know that contract is in the back of Baker's mind. And you messed with my money. You put out a propaganda video that's messing with my money. That's not a good Odell tape. It's a bad Baker tape. And I think it's a lot of grown man stuff. But once you start to get messing with people's money and messing with Cleveland's perception of Baker, which is already a little frazzled, I think anything that messes with Baker's money is probably a line you can't cross. Poison the locker room.
And we know that winning makes everything feel better. It's not going to be that much easier for them this week, and they got Cincinnati. So let's see if these two can at least get on some semblance of a page, not even the same one. We got to talk some Lakers. They got a win last night over the one-win Rockets. Should Lakers fans be encouraged, or are they